They've gone with the Night Stalker and the Disruptor on the other side as their opening duo. Well, the Mirana comes out alongside that Slaughter. Give Sponsor, I'm a little worried for them, man. I love the Night Stalker as the opening pick in almost every given situation. I like the Disruptor coupled up with the Night Stalker. It's a very, I'd say, potent and aggressive duo that comes out from them. Both heroes with a lot of roaming potential, massive pick-off potential, good team fight control along with good magic damage in the team fights as well. On the other side, Give Sponsor, let's not take anything away from them either because like you said, their Slaughter rotations were phenomenal. And Excarnation or Weapon X in that Mirana, if he's going to be playing it again, I would definitely be worried on the side of Team Buriza. He was absolutely fantastic on it.
Yeah, it was really good stuff coming out from Give Sponsor versus Aggressive 5 when they ran this tri-lane around the Mirana, where Weapon X was an offlaner who got a lot more farm and kills than an offlaner should normally get in the early phase. But that, in my opinion, ended up working because the supports on the side of Aggressive 5 were rather weak and there was not much they could do. For example, the Nyx Assassin decided to sit in the mid lane versus the TA. Honestly, what's the Nyx going to do to a TA? Not too much.
Yeah.
This time around, Give Sponsor, they've stuck to their format. It is a best of 3, so even if this time around their aggressive trial and shenanigans do end up getting punished, they've got game 2 and 3 to look forward to.
You know, one thing I want to bring to the table here, Excarnation or Weapon X as we know him, back in the day, he was we often compare him to, or rather we often chalked him up to be the Sing Sing of Indian Dota.
Why is that?
Fantastic individual skill, but super clowny outside of the game. Kind of a thrower inside the game.
Okay.
The reason I think he's a fantastic player today is because with time he's matured as a player and as a person. You don't see him doing any more of those cheesy shenanigans online. He's always respectful and disciplined at lands. And add to that his play style. It's a lot more calm and composed. It's very disciplined. We didn't see him going for some absurd flashy leap in plays on that Mirana. Just making the calm and calculated decisions is what got them ahead even in that tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. I'm a big fan of Excarnation and Weapon X. I'm a big fan of how he's controlling this team. And honestly, the fanboy in me is rooting for them quite a bit. But Buriza, man, we've seen Ramses decimate his opponents time and again. He's sort of taken it on.
Yeah, I don't expect to win that matchup. But he did carry his team through come mid-game. He was a huge source of damage. He did have a couple of icky initiations coming out from the Templar Assassin where he just jumps into 4 members of Aggressive and he ended up getting punished for it. But Team Buriza have taken note. They've taken note of how impactful Kaneki can be on the Templar Assassin and they're going to make sure they ban it out. Not sure why they banned out the TA when the Quap was picked. I'm sorry. It is...
I mean, the Quap does do okay versus the TA, but yeah, I'm still expecting this to be a middle lane Quap. Yeah. It's a little unconventional that they chose to ban the Templar after the Quap was picked on the side of Give Sponsor, but you know, maybe they just had something up against Kaneki's Templar Assassin. He's done a hell of a job in the past. It has synergy with the Slaughter. Maybe they thought they'd be running this as an off-lane Queen of Pain and then pick up a mid-Templar Assassin as well. That was a possibility. Buriza, though, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They'll pick up both the green heroes this time around. Both the Pugna and the Necrophos go into their pocket. The last time around, we did see the Necrophos being dealt with courtesy the magic damage output from the Pugna and his Decrepify. This time around, though, it looks like the Pugna is on the same side as the Necrophos. So I'm curious to see what they've got up their sleeves. And I'd be very surprised if the Ancient Apparition doesn't get banned out here. Okay, it's a Huskar ban, which I can get behind, considering there's a lack of physical DPS for Team Buriza.
So I'm a little worried for how Give Sponsor have approached this draft. If both these teams were equal in terms of mechanical skill and decision making, Give Sponsor so far have been outdrafted in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're pretty much gone by their textbook. Their textbook worked for them versus Aggressive 5, but I'm not sure if it's going to work versus every team. And now Buriza round up the draft with a good source of magic damage. You got the Pugna, physical damage, my bad, excuse me, that's what I meant. You got the Pugna hitting towers, you got vision, you got team fight, and you got a good source of physical damage as well. Give Sponsor, how do they deal with all these multiple sources of damage coming out from Team Buriza?
I don't know, man. I mean, even Buriza's lineup, while you say it's an outdraft, I feel like it's a bit of a Bhelpuri, man.
Yeah.
There's magic damage amplification, and then there's one of the hardest physical DPS heroes. Phantom Assassin is usually a hero you pick when you have synergy like the Bloodlust or perhaps the Magnus and Power on top of her. But here she's going to be a standalone Phantom Assassin. Necrophos, where's the burst damage to couple up with the Necrophos with the Reaper's side? I just don't see what this Buriza lineup is meant to do. And, you know, to make matters worse, the only real source of tower takedown is that Pugna, who can be sniped off on the backlines with this Lara jumping in. Gift sponsor, they still have a really good chance to make a well-rounded draft over here and to make sure that, well, they have some pushing potential of their own. And they're going to go with the Juggernaut again. A pick that I'm not entirely sold on.
It also seems as if Weapon X will be playing the Juggernaut. You said it's a pick you're not sold on. The Blade Fury is going to be pretty decent. I mean, it does have its uses this game. It does give them some siege potential with the healing ward. What else? Maybe Juggernaut will... I mean, Juggernaut is somebody who's going to naturally build a diffusal to deal with both the Pugna and the Necrophos. He's obviously going to run out of charges this game.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely a diffusal game for him and possibly even for the Mirana because, I mean, you can never have too few diffusal blades on this side. Too many diffusal blades on the side of Weapon X and his boys this game.
Do you think Mirana should switch things up and go magic damage this game?
I don't think so, man, because I think it's fairly evident that the Necrophos is going to go for the hood and the pipe eventually.
Okay.
Magic damage is really a short-term answer to the Necro and the Decrepifies and such.
Right. Do you think any of the cores in on the side of Wipeout might need BKBs? Do you think the Juggernaut or maybe even the Co-op might consider BKB this game?
Yeah, I think the Co-op has to consider that BKB primarily for that Nether Ward, but maybe not so much for the Juggernaut, because Jug's going to need a way to deal with that Phantom Assassin's evasion, right? So post the Diffuser Blade, maybe an MKB doesn't seem like a bad choice. Maybe, you know, a Bloodthorn on the Queen of Pain or even the Mirana for that matter wouldn't be terrible either. But I definitely think that both the Mirana and the Co-op are going to need BKBs themselves this game.
It's also not a fun game to be the Queen of Pain, especially versus the maxed out Nether Ward. If I'm not mistaken, actually let's do some math. Sonic Wave, how much mana does it cost?
500.
500, so how much damage is that? There you go.
Good luck doing 1.75 times 500 in your head, man.
So 175 into 100, 1.75 into 100 would be 175. 5 times 175 would mean that you need to take out a calculator. Anyway, so 5 times 100.
Full points per effort, man. Full points
damage.
per effort, Vivek. It's 875. That's not 500 damage.
Roughly.
That's
the word roughly can be used
875 damage, and then you factor in the base 30% magic reduction. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna chalk it up to about 800 damage. I can't even do it with a calculator, man. That's how bad I am at math. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Pugna's Nether Ward is going to be a hell of... well, it's going to be a bit of a bitch here for Queen of Pain. And without the BKB, she's going to take quite the beating from it. We did see the Necrophos getting royally hammered by that ward the last time around. In the previous game we casted. It's Queen of Pain's turn this time around. But it is going to be a standard laning setup by the looks of it, with Kaneki going to as the middle lane. He's going to be up against the Necrophos at mid as well. They're going to smoke up though. Looks like Team Buriza want to start off by charging straight through the gates, looking for that bounty room.
Smoke got spotted out though. It seems as if Wipeout is smoked out as well. Divine gets the crush, it's on to smoke. Unlikely that they score first blood, especially if the arrow misses like that. Telekinesis, Blade Fury, no boots on Weapon X means that they can't keep up with the Night Stalker.
Okay,
Pulse is
no
well
first
played.
blood. No early first blood coming out from either side. Pulse, meanwhile, on the top lane will just do his thing. So it's going to be an offensive tri lane coming out here with Ramses, Helmg, and Smoke. Smoke will have a better way to rotate towards the middle lane here. But is it a smart idea to run an offensive tri lane versus a Slaughter, a Disruptor, and a a Slaughter, a Rubik, and a Juggernaut? I mean, that Blade Fury is one of the best spells you could have in the tri versus tri setup.
Parasite even getting the early D-ward off, so that tri lane is walking in with a disadvantage in terms of vision because the Radiant are watching them. So Wipeout knows what's going on thanks to this ward near the off-lane shrine. They know what lane they're up against and they're going to try and respond appropriately. Smoke just being a nuisance in the mid lane. It's a Pugna versus Mirana matchup in the safe lane.
They could go for a level 1 first blood and they might get it comfortably as well if Parasite gets that telekinesis off. Weapon X does have the Blade Fury. Divine's got a crush available. If they chain up their spells perfectly, they'll be able to get a kill, especially if it's on Helmg on that Disruptor.
Yeah, Ramses is holding on to that skill point. Maybe he might put it into the Phantom Strike. Just in case he needs to get out of a sticky situation.
Well, looks like there's a ping issue. Well, they're having 1,000 MS here. That's clearly unplayable. They're going to have to wait for it to settle. How's the middle lane looking? Quap versus Necrophos? Yeah, I'm not a fan of this matchup for the Quap. I mean, the first few levels... For the Quap, actually.
Really?
Yeah, the first few levels are okay for the Queen of Pain, post which it kind of gets difficult.
Okay. I thought the Quap still manages to get farm and sail through the lane, at least going even in terms of farm.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can definitely farm because you've got the lower base attack time. And your damage is slightly more than the Necrophos. Your attack animation is a little better as well. So it's definitely possible to farm in that lane, or maybe even out-farm the Necrophos for the first few levels. But post which the Necrophos just walks up the slope, starts hitting you, uses the Red Pulse and connects on you. But bottom
side, it's almost as if they heard you. They went for Helmg. This should be first blood. Weapon X runs him down, scores the kill. Ramsey's trying to find a return kill here. And with help coming in from Smoke, they will manage to bring down the Rubik. Crush number 2 from Divine, just to ensure that Weapon X manages to retreat out of there.
Well, Smoke is out of mana now. He's going to have to back up and pop that Clarity Potion. It's still a 1-for-1 trade. The fact of the matter remains that both one positions ended up getting a kill. It's just that the Juggernaut got the first blood, extra money, and now he's got boots to work with as well. So they could try once again for Helm if he comes up here. But this is going to be the storyline time, and again, if they go for Helm, Smoke and his boys return the favor by getting a return kill on either Parasite or the Slaughter.
Yeah. Good stuff coming out from Smoke. I mean, he's...
Oh, Korea! Smoke's gonna get it.
That's gonna hurt. Divine, he gets the bounty rune. He cancels the clarity, but it's too little too late. Good stuff coming out from Smoke. I wanted to point out that the last time around we saw Buriza in action, Smoke was playing the off lane. Now he's been shifted to the 4 position, and so far he's done reasonably well. The real test though is that first night time, and he needs to hopefully hit at least level 2 before the first night time.
Got an Invis rune at the ready. He's probably going to do some damage on Kaneki here, just forcing him to blink back and use some of his mana, possibly even pop that salve. See, this is what I was talking about, the Necrophos. As long as he has one rotation coming out from the Night Stalker like this, Glass can just farm up the lane, get that extra regen going in with every creep that he kills. Unfortunately, the Quap can't do that. She has to keep calling up regenerative items for herself. So essentially and theoretically, you can't trade with him. Ramses is in trouble, jumps away for now, and Helmg, he won't die this time around either.
Smoke moving from lane to lane. He's now moved towards the top lane. It's his fellow ex-teammate Zeus from JMD, the Kolkata boys brawling in the top lane. And Zeus is just going to back off for the time being.
Smoke is doing a hell of a job this game. I mean, he's just bouncing from lane to lane, causing chaos and zoning out the heroes in whatever lane he heads to. He's given the Necrophos a slight advantage in the middle lane. Obviously, he's given Pulse the major advantage on the top lane. And bottom lane, he ended up trading 1-for-1 despite the fact that his 5 position support had to die. He's having a good start so far, and the nighttime hasn't even kicked in. He's at level 2, and he's got almost full mana to work with. This is when he could start to cause some problems for them. Or rather, cause more problems for them. You've also got the fact that Glass has picked up 2 Null Talismans and a Magic Wand, so he's now got the damage advantage in the middle lane. Quap is slowly going to start falling further and further behind unless something is done. And by something being done, I mean a rotation from one of the Radiant supports. Unfortunately, Divine is just focusing his efforts bottom, where Ramses is farming by himself. They're going to go in with a lift. They'll push him back for once. They'll crush him up, but Weapon X, he doesn't have the Blade Fury. There's the jump away by Ramses. He's even got 7 stick charges. Weapon X chose not to pop that... Mango for the kill here, while Divine still gives chase. Helmg comes in with a kinetic field dropped on the floor, and Parasite, that basically means that Parasite cannot continue chasing.
Yeah, I mean, Wipeout, they're going to be a little unhappy with themselves. They've tried to bring down the PA twice, and they've failed. So far, it is a quiet start. I'm not sure how Wipeout feel about this. And I have to ask you, who's more comfortable taking this game late, actually? Too early to say, but even then, actually, Divine's gone in. The crush is there. It's actually Smoke with the Void slowing down the Slardar. Slardar just runs away with the Guardian Sprint. Ramsey's changing targets. He has the Stifling Dagger coming off cooldown in a couple of seconds. But it's very unlikely that they're going to dive past the tier 1 this early on. Smoke still has the Void. He wants to make something happen. He has the face boots. He can run down Weapon X. Weapon X pops the Blade Fury, but Smoke with that HP will manage to get the kill and ends up falling as well. It's a 1-for-1 exchange in the bottom lane, while elsewhere in the mid lane, Glass solo kills the Queen of Pain.
With a Reaper's side. I don't know if it was a Reaper's kill, but it does get the solo kill nonetheless. But, you know, coming back to answer your question, who's the stronger team in the late game? I think without a doubt, I have to say it's going to be the Dire. Team Buriza has that Netforce and they've got that Phantom Assassin, both really strong heroes, and no real response for those heroes in the late game from the side of the Radiant. I mean, Necroforce, the only way to shut him down is either to stop his healing or to burst him with magic damage. The only real source of magic damage they have is the Quap, and well, I'm not even going to count the Fate Bolt or the Starstorm in the ultra late game stage. And the only real way to stop a Phantom Assassin is with evasion. When she's got that BKB and you don't have MKBs or a Bloodthorn that works in BKB, how do you stop her?
What a lane though. Quap trying to make her impact felt across the map. Does have the Sonic Wave, holds on to it. Ramsey's Phantom strikes further south but ends up going down.
My bad is the call, and indeed it is. Quap, recognizing that she can't do anything in the middle lane anymore, just moves towards the bottom side of the map and scores that kill instead. That's the right decision coming out from the Queen of Pain. You don't want to stand in the face of Glass. You know he's going to get the tower, and you know he's going to have a rotation coming in from this Night Stalker.
Kaneki needs help. That rotation's actually hurting the Queen of Pain really bad. Smoke in the mid lane, and with the siege creep as well as a couple of range creeps, they're going to get that tower early on. Kaneki, without a tower for rotations to come in into the mid lane. Divine, though, is trying to find some semblance of a response here. They lift up Smoke, they throw him towards the Shrine. The Shrine tagged as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Divine held on to that crush. He chose not to commit it, but I guess it makes sense considering they wouldn't have got that kill anyway.
I don't think the Shrine as well.
They didn't have too much mana on them, so I guess tagging the Shrine was not too bad.
Okay.
It's still night for about a minute, and you can see Smoke rotating towards the bottom lane where Divine is going to cut him off, but there we go. There's the dagger followed up with the blink, the Void to slow him down further. Helm GA, he has the glimpse, he throws him back into the Canary Field where he's going to end up meeting his maker, or AZ. He's trying to run, won't get too far. Smoke voids him to death.
Good stuff coming out from Smoke. Cool, calm, collected plays that have resulted in a couple of key kills. And all of this is space and time for Pulse to take a tier 1 himself.
A lot of what went wrong in the middle lane can be attributed to Smoke sniping that courier, because the Quap couldn't call out extra regen. Necroforce just out-sustains him in the lane, and eventually, if Kaneki gets too greedy, which he did, he gets killed off. There's also the fact that the Dire has taken 2 tier 1 towers, one on the top and one on the middle lane. A massive gold swing seems to be going in their favor now. It's 4,000 in their favor this early on, and Glass is just showing no signs of stopping. He's picked up a hood. How do you deal with him anymore? I mean, you have to have a corrosive haze online, but the Slaughter's at level 4.
And a little bit of physical damage. Even then, it means Weapon X has to... for now, he has to survive. He's being slowed down with the decrypt. Helm does have the glimpse. Pulls him back. Kinetic Field, where is it? But a Blade Fury from Weapon X will mean that he won't get glimpsed back. Meanwhile, Divine TPs to his Shrine near the mid lane. Smoke in deep at the Radiant jungle. Glass needs to be careful. He's all by himself. He's got the hood. The Sonic Wave committed. They do have enough damage. Glass can turn it out. And there's the ghost shot with the stick charges. They threw everything on the Necroforce, and it's almost like he had cheese at 8 minutes into the game. They're going for Smoke. Smoke making a run for it. His face would trigger. A Reaper Sight comes in from Glass. It's not going to result in a kill. Smoke will fall right next to him, and Weapon X is here as well. He's only level 5, doesn't have the Omni Slash, and doesn't really get much done.
So, I mean, to summarize, it ends up being a 4-man rotation onto the Night Stalker. He ends up dying, but they're going to get a tier 1 tower on the bottom lane in exchange, which is the last tier 1 tower for the Radiant. Their map, their half of the map is completely violated right now. Yeah. And the moment the next nighttime kicks in, I'm fairly certain we're going to see the entirety of Team Buriza just grouping up and moving into the jungle. Buriza, they've taken this game by the horns and are just not letting go.
Yeah, for all the games we've seen so far, the Taiwan Excellence Gaming Cup, this is the one with the most significant lead this early on. Buriza just need to keep this lead working in their favor, itemize correctly, keep going for objectives and pickoffs every now and then, and this is their game to lose.
Yeah, I mean, this is a squad that's made it to the cusp of victory on Indian Esports, or on the Indian Esports main stage at the Dew Arena finale. They ended up losing out to Aggressive 5 at the tail end of things. However, this is their shot at redemption. They've come back strong. They're looking to take down the team that took down their kryptonite, and right now they seem to be doing really well against them.
Any significant items that you think Buriza should be looking for?
I mean,
particular?
So far so good. They've got the hood on the Necro first, which was crucial. The Phantom Assassin hasn't quite revealed what she's heading for. I mean, it's just the phase boots in the Ring of Aquila for now. I'd like to see that early Aghanim Scepter coming out for Smoke, if at all they can give him the time to farm it. You know, with the vision advantage that they'll have, glimpse pickoffs will become that much easier, and that'll allow them to set up for breaching the high ground towards the mid and late game stages. Anyway, Ramses needs to be careful. He's in a compromising position. We're seeing them run forward towards him, but he has those phase boots, which allows him to get away. Kaneki's even going to take a consolation prize in the form of the dagger on his way in.
Wipeout, they look a bit uncoordinated. They're just grouping up in the bottom half of the map and they're not getting too much done. Now a whole lot of TPs. They want Smoke on the Night Stalker. This kill isn't worth too much, but a kill is a kill nonetheless. And the crush will come in from Divine. Smoke caught mid-air and brought down. Zeus gets the last hit.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really fault him. Oh, wow, okay. Middle lane. RIP Rubik. That was a decrep, a blast, followed up with a Reaper Sight on a life drain. He's down for 19 seconds. Glass gets himself another kill under his bag. The scan's going to tag a couple of heroes heading their way. And they look like they might make a clean break. But Weapon X is here with the Moonlight Shadow. He has the... what? Okay, he's still level 5. He doesn't have the Omni Slash.
12 minutes in, you ran a tri-lane around your 1 position and your Juggernaut hasn't yet 6. This is not at all good. Supports start hitting 6 by the 12-minute mark. I mean, look, HMGA has hit 6 on the Disruptor. The Disruptor's level 6. I mean, he's getting closer to 7. This Juggernaut is woefully under-leveled. And it seems as if Wipeout recognizes the only way for them to get back into the game is to find kills.
I've maintained that the Juggernaut is a hero that's very situational as a core, and this is a situation that's not benefiting him. Smoke, he's going to reveal those smokes inadvertently. He's going to run straight into 3 heroes, but he runs back out. Are they going to blink forward towards him? They don't need to. Yeah. With the corrosive phase and the auto attacks, they get the kill.
I don't think Buriza feel too bad about losing Smoke every now and then, because every time they give up Smoke, look at this, Pulse is applying pressure in the mid lane. I just hope he ends the thing alive. Yeah, he's gotten the tower. He's heading north. These are bigger victories for Buriza.
Absolutely. Every tower that goes down is a lot more money that goes in favor of Buriza than they lose with the Night Stalker dying. And it's also an opening into the jungle, another additional opening into the jungle or towards the shrines where, you know, TP support is limited.
Ramses, he's picked up the Orb of Venom as well as the Blightstone.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a Desolator Rush coming out from him this game. More physical damage to be thrown on top of all of it. Meanwhile, the Necrophos chose to go for the Veil, so they've got magic damage amplification. I mean, Veil with the Decrepify is such a scary proposition.
It's ridiculous.
Especially if HMGA manages to get a big Static Storm with a Kinetic Field to trap him in.
It is still nighttime though for a couple of minutes, and Smoke is trying to make something happen of his second night. They pop the Smoke themselves, they sense that someone's nearby, possibly farming the scam. They drop an Observer. Smoke, Pulse and Helm waiting patiently. Zeus, one of the only heroes on the side of Wipeout who hasn't died a single time if I'm not mistaken. A kill now on him could be rather significant.
They're not going to commit like this. They're thinking about going with Smoke running forward. There's the Veil thrown down and they're going to go straight on to Smoke. That's the Static Storm. It catches just the Quap. They have the Reaper Sight as well and they deleted the Queen of Pain while Zeus will leap away. It's a double kill for Glass. He actually gets the kill on Divine with the Heartstopper Zora while Weapon X comes in from behind and scores a kill. He actually scores 2, bringing down Smoke and HMGA by himself. And then he backs away. Or does he? The arrow's gonna fly out. The Decrepify and the Blast were there. And Zeus is gonna follow suit with Glass getting a triple kill. And a near team wipe on Weapon X and his boys.
Glass with the Reaper Sight in that Static Storm. That's how they started the fight on a good note. Pop didn't even get the Sonic Wave off. Good Static Storm coming out from HMGA. I mean, with such a big AoE, you're bound to catch someone crucial in a choke point. And Wipeout, they were absolutely discombobulated by Team Buriza. Also, Pulse with that live drain, bringing down Divine on the Slada, who's such a key and crucial player for Wipeout, having 0 to no impact in that fight. Really hurt Wipeout's chances of winning that fight altogether. Weapon X did find a double kill, but he's lost a bit of that gold quickly. And Team Buriza, they're now working with a 10k net worth advantage. The game is theirs to lose. Smoke on the hunt. It is still nighttime for a minute, or rather 30 seconds. Not sure what he can do with this.
Yep, looks like Buriza have found themselves in a really comfortable position. Ramses, he's got himself a Desolator nearly completed for now. It's 15 minutes in and his Deso isn't done just yet. It's not the smoothest timing or the smoothest ride towards the Deso, but, you know, they've managed to take down a bunch of towers. In fact, there's only one tier 2 tower standing in this game. Once he gets that Desolator, they have a choice. Split push on one side, pressure that tier 2 tower, and go take the Roshan while his opponents are busy dealing with that.
Do you think Kaneki needed the Veil himself, or maybe a defensive item to start out with, like the Yules? Or possibly a Linken's could have been better?
Not a fan of this Veil at all on the Queen of Pain. I mean, especially given the lack of magic damage.
Yeah, there's a lack of magic damage on his side. I mean, only the Screen, the Rubik, and the Starstorm really benefit from it. It might, I mean, it could work in their favor provided Divine gets off a good crush, and it's only really going to work in their favor really early on. I mean, who am I kidding? The Necroforce has a hood, so it's a high ask for that Veil to have any impact in teamfights.
It really is. I mean,
a survivability item really would have helped his cause.
If you're gonna play the burst damage card, it's not a good choice to do it versus the Necroforce this game. The only reason I think the Veil does make sense is because the build up to it is so sensible, or rather the build up to it is so smooth. It gets you those 2 null talismans in the laning stage, and then you can build into the Veil early on. But given the fact that they've lost so many towers, even though his Veil hasn't come at a terrible timing, it's just that there's so much gold gone the other way that they're well prepared and equipped to deal with that early Veil on the co-op. Look at this, man. The Necros even picked up a freaking relic in addition to that Veil and the hood.
Ridiculous. I mean, his net worth is 10,000. One second, let's take a look. So Juggernaut is at 6,000 net worth. The Necroforce is 4,000 ahead of him. A lot of this gold, I understand, is coming from taking down all these towers. That's generally helping Buriza altogether. But this Necroforce is pretty much cosplaying as an alchemist right now, and he's getting closer and closer to that Radiance. I don't see any answers on the side of Wipeout to this Necroforce, and all in all, the draft coming out from Buriza this early on.
We're yet to see an Omni Slash from the Juggernaut as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we haven't yet seen an Omni Slash that's had any real impact. If I'm not mistaken, he got that double kill with the Blade Fury.
Missed that one.
Well,
I'm not sure if
I'm not too sure, but
there.
Kaneki, he's going to be brought down. Smoke making it look so simple. Finding Kaneki out of position, using the silence and bring him down.
I mean, at this point, even though this is really not much of a... It's going to sound a little crass. He should be happy that it wasn't a Reaper side kill.
Weapon X, the Static Stomp elsewhere, the Kinetic Field elsewhere. MGA practicing Venn diagrams here in the bottom lane.
Nah, that's not going to work. Throwing down a Static Storm on Weapon X just to zone him out. I think that's overdoing it. But nonetheless, they'll get rid of them in the lane and they're going to go for that tier 2 tower. You don't want to go contesting a double damage Phantom Assassin with a Desolator in a pocket.
But instead, you'd be hoping to bring down the Pug now, who's all by himself. In fact, it's Parasite who's TP to his own shrine. He thought he was safe here. The silence comes in. The telekinesis is going to buy him time, but not enough. Pulse gets the kill. And he's on a killing spree.
Pulse, Aghanim Scepter finished up, in addition to the Aether Lens, in addition to the Decrepify magic damage amplification, in addition to the Veil magic damage amplification. I mean, you throw all of that on any one of those heroes, they're done for in a matter of seconds. You just saw the Rubik disintegrating. I fear for what's going to happen to that Mirana as well. Well, Zeus almost has his Diffusal Blade. It's only... I mean, this is not even a saving grace for them right now. It's just some sort of insurance that if at all Buriza manages to mess up their footwork, they'll have some damage output to punish them with.
Yeah, it is something, but it's only really going to pay off once the Slada gets his blink. I mean, in a draft like this, the 4 position is really the more important one. You'd rather prioritize giving space to the Slada over the Mirana, Sure, the Mirana's got the defusal, but without a healthy way for Team Wipeout to get their fight started, that diffuser blade means nothing.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Rosh is going to drop. Ramses will be the holder of that Aegis, and that means he's got a new lease on life once again.
Aegis,
it's go time, man. You just go high ground, put the Necroforce on the front lines, put Ramses right next to him, and just right-click buildings.
I'm just waiting for Punch to drop that Nether Ward. It's going to hurt the Queen of Pain real bad.
Still needs a level to max it out, though.
Yep.
Well, on the other side of the fence, how does Weapon X's team manage this? I mean, Wipeout are just sitting ducks in their base. I just don't see any value add coming out from this Juggernaut this game. Even if they come in with this wraparound with the Moonlight Shadow, you might get one kill, but then it's going to be the Pulse and the Necroforce show.
You're hoping that Buriza don't have a sentry.
Which they do.
That's exactly what you're hoping for. What I'd much rather see is Divine just sell his Tranquil Boots and buy that Blink. I honestly don't mind Slardar not having his Tranquil Boots and rather having a Blink. That Moonlight Shadow wasted Divine so close to that Blink, and that Blink could make all the difference in this team fight. The Nether Ward really being a nuisance here. Zeus goes in. He's been silenced. His life drained from him. The Reaper side committed. Zeus there for 67 seconds. No buyback as well. The Radiance from Glass really hurting the Rubik. And the tower brought down as well. Glass, as well as Pulse banging away on the Barracks. Ramses is here as well with the Aegis. Wipeout. They have no answer to the push coming out from Team Buriza. Weapon X wants to go in.
You know that Ramses wants to go in as well. I mean, he's just itching to jump in with that Blink Strike, especially now that he has that Aegis still sitting upon him. He's picked up a Yasha in addition to the Aegis, in addition to the Desolator, I'm sorry, which means that he's got the mobility to go hunting for kills himself. But the problem is he's got only 1 point in Blur, so he really doesn't have any evasion to deal with the right clicks coming out on top of that Corrosive Haze. I don't know if this is the right skill build for him,
I'm not sure it is. If he is caught out of position, this skill build could really come back to hurt him. I mean, this is a lack of discipline. Props to Buriza, they're winning, but I mean, these small lapses in discipline could really hurt them against a good team.
Glass also chose to go for the Blink Dagger instead of picking up his next big item, so he's prioritizing mobility over tankiness or offensive potential. I can't say I'm in agreement with that either, because the game plan shouldn't be to try and get into the backlines and start a fight. The game plan should be to try and take down buildings and hope that they come for you instead. In that direction, I'd have preferred something like a Blade Mail or maybe even progress towards his Aghanim Scepter. Heck, even a Crimson Guard wouldn't have been a bad choice as well.
Okay. Weapon X and Boy smoked up. Divine still no Blink Dagger to work with. They're hoping to catch Buriza, but once again, Buriza have them like a book. And they're just going to back off for the time being. The Moonlight Shadow nearly wasted for Wipeout.
Well, we talked about the lack of points in Blur on the side of the Phantom Assassin, but that's been compensated for by Smoke picking up that Solar Crest on the Night Stalker. Pretty much straightforward for them. Throw the Solar Crest onto Ramses, have him right-click the buildings. If things go wrong, jump with Glass, jump with Pulse, and of course, have another ward on the floor for extra insurance.
I think Divine just sells his Magic Stick or his Infused Raindrops. Okay, he's almost got the Blink. He needs it before Buriza come high ground. And he hasn't got too much time because Pulse is just pounding away at the structures here with the Nether Blast. A quick glimpse at the Kaneki. The Kaneki field will miss. And GA feeling the pressure to get the fight started, using a key ultimate to no avail there. The tower falls either way for Buriza. Ramses, he's got the face boots. He's focusing the barracks here. Oh, that dagger hurt. There's the crush from Divine. Where's the follow-up? There comes the Sonic Wave. And Omni Slash from Weapon X. No one from the side of Buriza dropping just yet. The Age is expended on Ramses. He's come back for round 2. Kaneki forced to blink out. Reaper side committed. Weapon X will end up going down. The Blink Dagger from Glass means that he can leap forward and get another Death Pulse. Weapon X down for 40 seconds. The Slardar out as well. The barracks have fallen. And Wipeout have tapped out for the time being.
So, it was a good attempt there. They actually had a stolen Reaper Scythe on the Rubik. He threw it out on an Aegis Phantom Assassin though. Some questionable decision making right till the end of the game coming out from Wipeout. Buriza take an emphatic win here in Game 1 of this Best of 3 series. Stay with us, folks. This is Cloudx and Vivek taking a temporary break. We'll come back after a breather for Game 2. Fucking all our tier 2 teams, man. My head is hurting watching this shit.
that this event has been possible because of the support of the Taitra team, because of our brands. Let's give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. One of the biggest tournament happening in India at Infinity Mall. It's because of Taitra, and they've sponsored such amazing, Taiwanese products here. Excellent gaming products. So, shall we? Yeah, Jennifer, let's do this. And before that, let me show the prizes that are going to be won. So, could I have the prizes? My little, the one who's in his fairyland right now. Here we go. So, the second runners-up is going to get a D-Link router. Come on, make some noise. D-Link router. Our first runners-up is going to get a Cyber power bank. So, you can go anywhere around without your mobile charger because you have a power bank worth 10,000 mAh. Great. And the bumper prize is the A-Data hard disk 1 TB, so you can save all your memories, photos, videos, data on this hard disk. So these are all your prizes. It can be yours. So let's see who's going to win. I'm going to give this back to you. Here we go. Jennifer, let's... our first winner is Lakshay Arora. Lakshay Arora, congratulations. I'm going to give you your prize. Go for it. D-Link Wi-Fi router. Can we cheer for him, yeah, guys? Come on. Before you go, congratulations. क्या बात है यार, जीत गए. कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
Feel so lucky to have the D-Link router.
Out of everyone, you have got it. You are indeed lucky. Tell me this. Are you having a good time at the Taiwan Excellence?
Really having a good time.
Have you used our brands?
I've been using the products of the Taiwan Excellence.
And what is that one word that comes to your mind when I say Taiwan Excellence?
Excellently done, everything and the products.
Excellently done event, excellently done products too. Okay, give me a high five for that. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Good job. You're lucky. Let's go for the next one, and this is for the Cyber power bank, 10,000 mAh. यार कोमल, मैं नाम ले देती यार. Power bank की ज़रूरत है मुझे. Next one is a girl. Hope she's a girl. Zara Rebello. Zara Rebello, congratulations. You have won the Cyber power bank, 10,000 mAh. Congratulations to you. One second. Before you leave, I remember I was talking to you and you were like, I need to put my name. I want to win that gift. Was it the same gift? You wanted the bumper prize, right? But, something is better than nothing. You won this one. Out of all these guys, you're the special one. Yeah? Cosplay character, and plus you're winning this. Awesome. What's that one word that comes to your mind when I say Taiwan Excellence?
The best brands.
Best brands, what else? This is your second year, right? Last year, she did a phenomenal job last year at the cosplay fashion show that we had, right? She was amazing. This year also, you're looking fitter and even more beautiful, and you won this. Congratulations to you. Thank you. And now the bumper prize. The bumper prize. Okay, let's see. I also put my name. And the winner is Lincia Rosario. My name. I know if I take the prize and go, you guys are going to go crazy. Komal is going to be like, get out from here. All right, the winner is the bumper prize, Aliesa. Aliesa. Oh my God, it's insane. You got A-Data Hardest 1 TB. This guy is winning gifts after gifts. He is. Tell me this, okay? Congratulations to you. Whose face did you see? Did you see my face when you... You're winning gifts after gifts. What is the secret?
Rishabh Tomar, right there, formless. Woo!
Rishabh, you're the lucky one. You saw his face for the first time, Rishabh. Thank you so much, Rishabh. Because of you, he has won. Congratulations. Before you go, tell me this, I've seen you. You've been having a great time at the Taiwan Excellence. You've been playing all the games. You've been, participating in all the activities. Did you try the MSI? Yeah.
I tried the virtual reality experience. Almost everything over here on display is really ridiculous. I wish I could afford all of this.
Absolutely. In time you will. And what is that one word that comes to your mind when I say Taiwan? Excellent.
Gaming.
Gaming. When it comes to gaming, absolutely world class. That is Taiwan Excellence. Thank you so much. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have, do we have one more lucky draw to go? Yes, one more lucky draw to go. So make sure, if you've not filled in your name, you've not filled in your number, then go right now. Do that right now. Yes, you want to tell me something. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Taiwan Excellence Gaming Cup, the 4th edition. We had 8 teams battling it out against each other. Tomorrow we are going to be having the finale, 10 lakhs in stake. So our winner is going to get 2 lakhs. So make sure that you are there today and tomorrow for the finale that's going to take place. We went around to different cities. This event started on 1st of September this year. Went to different cities, right from Delhi, Bengaluru, Chennai, Kolkata, Hyderabad. Yes? Right, gamers? Okay. I'm going to let you relax. I know you've done a lot of gaming. So make sure that you stick around. Make sure that you fill in your name for the lucky draw. I'm going to ask you some simple questions. Whoever gives me the right answer takes home some lovely gifts. And I'm going to let the game begin.
Power bank. She actually needs a power bank.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't get a countdown in our ear, but we're going to start anyway because we see our faces on camera. What's happening, ladies and gents? We're back for Game 2 of this best of 3 for the TE Gaming Cup 2017. Buriza, they took Game 1 quite convincingly, I have to say. I don't know if Wipeout has what it takes to come back in Game 2. The draft, it's well underway, and Bloodseeker has entered as the final hero here.
Yeah, no, not the final hero just yet, but it's want to give sponsors heroes. They've also corrected their name this time around. They're not Wipeout, they're gift sponsor. Their team tag reads gift sponsor. The banner in the ban pick phase reads Wipeout. I'm a bit confused, but they've got the Bloodseeker. They've got the Underlord that can catch them in the pit of malice and probably ensure that the Blood Rite gets off. It's a bit icky, but it can work. While Buriza, they're given Helm G as Disruptor. They picked up the Monkey King. And I'm not sure. It's possibly an offlane Mirana and a 4-position Nyx.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a 4-position Nyx and a possible mid Mirana, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be a mid Mirana.
But he's going to be up against what I assume is a mid Visage here for gift sponsor. So they're just pulling out all the stops, man.
Yeah.
If they were hiding strategies before this, they no longer are. Bloodseeker, Visage, Underlord, and Spirit Breaker. In fact, and Jakiro. These are 5 heroes that they hadn't picked at all up until now in this tournament.
And with the Necrophos pickup, I'm sensing, hold on. So Pulse is playing the offlane Mirana.
So it seems.
And it's going to be a mid Necrophos like last time around.
Yeah, Glass once again on the Necrophos, but Bloodseeker, I've heard that he does quite well versus the Necrophos in the laning stage, except for when there's rotations coming in his direction. This time around though, it's going to be a Nyx Assassin heading in his way. I'm not sure how much of a threat that is. Doesn't seem like much, especially when the Necrophos needs to worry about a Spirit Breaker charging in at him from time to time. And that should allow the Blood Rite to be set up quite efficiently under his feet. Wondering what Gift Sponsor has up their sleeves this particular game, because they're going to have to play some supreme and stellar Dota here if they want to make a comeback. Buriza has already shown that they're a really efficient and tightly knit unit when they're on the same page. They've got a wave of confidence that they're riding right now, because Gift Sponsor took a game of aggressive 5 and, well, Buriza beat them quite convincingly. They've got to be feeling good about themselves going into this match.
Yeah, Buriza playing some really good Dota here, on par with the West, on par with the East. It's very reminiscent of what we see from China every now and then. This Monkey King pickup, especially. It's very Chinese in my opinion.
Doesn't matter though, because Taiwan #1.
Taiwan #1 indeed. You couldn't resist, could you?
I couldn't. I'm so sorry. I just had to.
I would have done
too
the
much
same.
PUBG.
Yeah, too much PUBG. That's what happens. Let's blame PUBG for all of this. But yeah, Zeus, he's going to be heading to the off lane with the Underlord. Interesting that he started out with the boots over something like a PMS. I presume this is just so that he doesn't give away multiple stacks of Jingo Mastery to the Monkey King early on. He feels that if he has the boots, he can stay away from the ranged hero that the Monkey King is. Using the usual wards in the mid lane. Kaneki, hold on. It's a mid Jakiro?
What?
This is
no,
Lily
it's
G.
not. It's a mid Visage.
Wait.
They've actually switched things up, and Kaneki is going to be playing the support role, while Parasite is playing the mid Visage. Maybe Kaneki is not very comfortable playing the Visage at the middle lane, and this is something that they must have discussed internally, that if and when the Visage gets picked up, Jakiro will take the other birdie in the game and move towards the support role. Okay. It's some good versatility that they're showing, and you know, maybe it's going to work well for them. But what on earth just happened? Smoke walks in, steals a bounty rune, walks away by himself.
Yeah, I assume that Kaneki is to blame for this, because when you're the 5 position, you're doing one of two things, right? You're either helping secure the bounty rune, or you're hoping to block the creeps in the mid lane. He's doing neither. He's just sitting in the mid lane under what could possibly be an enemy ward. But the charge comes out from Divine. The Grave Chill slowing down Glass a little bit, a dual breath as well. They're going to apply pressure early on to this Necrophos. Glass does have a Death Pulse coming off cooldown. A Fairy Fire as well, but the right clicks are there. And Parasite scores first blood. This is despite Buriza having complete vision of this.
So a minor error comes out there from the Necrophos. He actually popped the Death Pulse before he took any damage whatsoever. Maybe, just maybe, if he held on to that Death Pulse, used it a little later, he might have survived. But that's the power of a Spirit Breaker, man. You can run in past the tower at level 1, and that's when you really need your supports to be next to you. Smoke, he's done a good job so far. After taking that bounty rune, he's also managed to find the D ward on the middle lane. And this is despite the Jakiro seeing Smoke drop down and observe a ward in that lane.
No, it was the other way around. Wasn't it?
No, I'm pretty sure
the Dire Observer was before, and they saw Kaneki plant the ward.
But Jakiro was standing right on top when
he was
Smoke
standing.
came in.
Okay.
So they actually saw Smoke walking in and drop a ward. They haven't managed to de-ward it just yet though. Even though First Blood goes in favor of Gift Sponsor, I still think that Buriza are the ones that are playing with a slight advantage here. Bottom lane though, Bloodseeker is going to have a ball of a time versus the solo Mirana.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to need a rotation in his direction, and it has to be the Nyx Assassin that goes there. Problem is, because it's an offensive trial on the top side, they've got to be careful themselves. Firestorm, Spirit Breaker charge, and a dual breath.
Yeah, MG is done for. He's being slowed down. The cow is pounding away the dinosaur. And it's Zeus who gets the kill. So the good thing is that since Weapon X should be fine in his lane by himself, the supports on the side of Gift Sponsor can focus on the other lanes a little bit. And that's exactly what Kaneki as well as Divine on the Split Breaker are doing. They're trying to apply pressure elsewhere across the map. The mid lane, though, is one that the Necroforce is going to win quite easily. And Kaneki recognizes that. A charge onto the mid lane. Early game aggression coming out from Gift Sponsor. Glass, has he popped the Death Pulse again a little too early? Smoke, he's got the Impale. Divine being controlled. Low on mana, but they're low on damage as well. Helm comes in with the Thunder Strike, pushing back Kaneki on the Jakiro. But the gang fizzles out and Glass is still alive.
Yeah, again, Glass just getting too trigger happy with that Death Pulse early on. While it does have a rather low cooldown, I'm not sure if it was the best choice to just drop it out there first before actually taking any damage of his own. But he is starting to pull further and further ahead in terms of CS. He's at 15 and 6, while that Visage is sitting at 4 and 6. Or rather 4 and 2.
This, though, is a really smart play coming up from Buriza. They realize that Pulse, who they pretty much want to scale as a secondary core, wasn't having a favorable matchup in the offlane. They switched things up. They sent Ramses here.
But so has Weapon X. Weapon X is just gone chasing him about the map.
So it's musical chairs, and Ramses doesn't know that there's a charge upon him. The charge means that, I mean, it's going to be a man disadvantage going in his favor. The glimpses there on Kaneki, the Firestorm to start things off. Ramses building the Jingu Mastery stacks, but he gets smacked in the head by Divide. The Boundless Strike was there, and one right click from Hell will mean that Buriza get the kill. They find the response, and they're trying to bring down Divine, but they don't have the damage, and the call is to get back indeed.
Well, all of this is still space for Weapon X to dominate this Mirana across the map. From the bottom lane to the top lane, Weapon X is just out-CSing him hardcore. 19 and 11 versus 9 and 3. Pulse needs help, and he needs help now.
Yeah, I mean...
Smoke. He's in trouble, though. He's got a charge upon him, and Kaneki is chasing him. On the other side, you even got Parasite making his way towards him, but Glass walks out there and says, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah. This Necroforce, I mean, it's... going to take a couple of heroes to bring him down. I guess the call from Gift Sponsors is to wait for Parasite to hit 6, get this Familiars. The additional damage coming in from the Familiars as well as the stun to control the Necroforce during the Ghost Shroud could really help Team Gift Sponsors bring down this Necroforce.
Weapon X could be in trouble here. There is an Impale available. It doesn't connect, and Smoke gets tagged by the Blood Drive. The arrow's going to whiff well entirely. You've got a Spirit Breaker coming in, but now there's no way to stop Weapon X from TPing back to his tower.
Yeah, Smoke misplayed that. He could have just walked into the Blood Rite with the Spike Carapace, ensured that he got the stun off on Weapon X, and then followed up with the Impale. Anyway, he's trying to make amends. The Impale is there, but the damage is in. Pulse holding onto the arrow. Didn't sense he had a clear-cut opportunity there.
Yep, meanwhile, bottom lane is now being dominated by the Monkey King and the Disruptor. It is the Underlord that's farming under his tower. He's okay for now. But that could be about to change, because that Monkey King's got a decent amount of levels going for himself. He's at level 5.
Yeah.
No Orb of Venom, though.
He's got the Phase Boot, so that's certainly going to help him push the Underlord out of lane.
Weapon X, though, he did pop that Blood Rage upon himself. Smoke doesn't have mana for an Impale. He can't make a play on him. They've also converted mid into a dual lane, so Kaneki and Weapon X are just going to be standing there by themselves and forcing out Glass.
Zeus. Well, he gets the third stack with the Boundless Strike. But Helm, no mana for the Glimpse, and Zeus probably might have to make a base trip here.
Anyway, Glass is up to level 6 now. Once he gets 7, he's going to have a maxed out Death Pulse in addition to that Reaper Sight. Maybe they'll make a play then. For now, though, it's a charge towards the top lane where Kaneki is heading over towards Pulse as well. Weapon X is in level 6. He's going to drop a Blood Rite on the floor, and Pulse, he's going to try and walk out of it before committing to a leap. Smoke is coming in, does get the Impale off. He stuns up the Bloodseeker and then stands his ground. But Weapon X, he's moving like a Ferrari, and he's red to boot as well, as Pulse will go down. Weapon X takes the kill and adds insult to injury after out-CSing him in a humiliating way.
Beautiful stuff coming out from Weapon X. The way he had the presence of mind and, I mean, just absolute zen-like calmness to sidestep that arrow with all that extra thirst movement speed and ensure that he got the kill on the Mirana was sublime. Good stuff coming out from Weapon X. Pulse playing with more of a deficit now. I guess if you're Buriza, you just have to accept that Pulse is going to have a hard time. The Rupture The cat is bleeding and there's a blood right on the floor. Pulse, I mean, there's nothing he could do.
Absolutely nothing he could do. He should have known that he can't go back to that lane. I mean, that's what your arrow's for. When you're in such a terrible situation, you go into the jungle, use the arrow to kill off a creep and just farm neutrals while you have to. Now, not only did he die, they're also going to get the damage done on the tower like they intended to. It was just an extra freebie that went over to the Bloodseeker, who's having an amazing game already.
Do you think Helm really needs to be sitting with the Monkey King? I mean,
I don't think so at all, man.
If they're getting kills on the Underlord like this, it makes sense.
I think the Monkey King could probably solo kill the Underlord as well if he finished up those phase boots, but at mid, Glass is in trouble himself. He's taken a beating. He does have the Ghost Shroud. Magic Wand charges and the heal comes out divine. Smacked with the Reaper's side, smacked with an auto attack, but doesn't quite die just yet and makes it out of there.
Yeah, Glass would have liked to pick up that kill. But unfortunately, the damage not enough. And Divine gets away scot-free. Zeus level 5, while what's the Mirana like? Mirana's level 5 as well, getting close to 6. Invis Rune, trying to make a rotation, make something happen across the map.
Now Smoke's gonna go toe-to-toe versus Weapon X on this top lane. Smoke's objective here is to just hit level 6. I don't think he really cares about farming in the lane. Glass, he's gonna have backup coming in with an Invis Mirana from behind. Kaneki could be in trouble, but they're gonna prioritize the Visage instead, who's also low. If this arrow connects, it'll be a disaster. Arrow, leap, double star storm, and an auto attack. It'll be Glass that claims the kill, gets the regen, and Pulse will get a consolation prize in the form of that bird.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ramses and Helm team up once again and bring down the Underlord.
Meanwhile, up top as well, they've got the Smoke. Nyx Assassin, who's in a world of trouble. The Blood Red was dropped, but not enough to score a kill. The charge comes in, and Smoke will survive, but the tower will not. There is backup coming in from Pulse, but he's walking under a Radiant Observer Ward. This could be disaster. However, Weapon X, no rupture just yet. He needs a bit more mana before he can commit it. I'm still torn about who's coming out on top in this game, because on one hand, Weapon X is farming really well on the Bloodseeker, but on the other hand, Glass is starting to get out of control, and so too is the Monkey King. You know, after a certain point, you just got to question whether or not it's gift sponsor's ego that's getting in the way of them banning out that Necroforce, because Glass has got it time and again, and he's proven that he's a force to be reckoned with. And it's not like they're picking up counters to the Necroforce either. There's no Pugna, there's no Ancient Apparition. How do you stop this Necroforce this game? What is the game plan?
I don't know either. They don't seem to have a game plan just yet. Glass sort of going in autopilot in terms of item build. He's going for the hood again. There's nothing wrong with it, but wouldn't you much rather see something that protects him from physical damage, or maybe a rupture coming out like that from Weapon X? You got the Pit of Malice as well. They're going to try and bring down Glass, but the Ghost Shroud popped the Death Pulse as well. He's dropping really low. He's still controlled by the rupture. The Pit of Malice along with the Kaneki dual breath damage will bring him down. Weapon X goes back to farming. Smoke comes in under cover of Moonlight Shadow. He's looking for the Impale. It is on cooldown. The Mana Burn comes out from the Nyx. They're trying to bring down Weapon X. Ramsey's holding on to the Boundless Strike, but that's going to ensure that he gets caught in the ice part, and the Boundless Strike comes out a bit too late. They lose the Necroforce. They find nothing in return, and gift sponsors can just go back to the shrine.
Clutch play coming out from Kaneki there. Actually, clutch plays coming out from Kaneki there. Number one, he walks in, gets the dual breath off along with the liquid fire upon the Necroforce, and then walks out just before he gets tagged with the Reaper's side. Number two, he pops an ice path that stops the Boundless Strike from coming out from Ramses, which would have been certain death on a glimpsed Mana Burn Bloodseeker there. I don't think Weapon X would have survived had it not been for Kaneki, and Kaneki deserves all the praise in the world for those two plays. All this with just boots and one Iron Branch.
Yeah, Ramses though, I mean, he is holding on to the Space Boots. It seems as if rushing the Battle Fury seems to be his intention. I can understand that, but if he's going to come in team fights like this, he does need the Space Boots complete.
Oh, look at this. Nyx just skirts around the periphery, breaks two smokes, and for all the praise we gave Kaneki, he should have been carrying some detection now.
Absolutely.
You don't go smoke hunting without detection when there's a Nyx Assassin against you.
Divine not carrying any detection either.
I don't know if that was a good move at all from them.
It isn't. I mean, this is what you classify as bad support play. People ask what is bad support play. This is bad support play. Not carrying detection was Nyx. But I don't blame Kaneki. I haven't seen him play this role in a while. And he's clearly just getting used to it.
Bloodseeker's queuing up a Radiance right off the bat. I don't know if this is the right way to go because I think a Blade Mail would have still added value to his life, especially versus the Necropos. They did throw down the Rupture on Ramses. Smoke is in the vicinity, but only Smoke is in the vicinity. Ramses drops the Wukong's command and stands his ground, hoping to fight. He's just walking left, right, and center, taking some rupture damage, but now that the Rupture's worn off, he's going to go for the birds. The birds.
They've got a glimpse. They've got Parasite in the kinetic field. A beautiful arrow from Pulse. And with the Reaper side, they eliminate the Visage. They're looking for more. Weapon X making a run for it. He doesn't have the Thirst movement speed. Smoke tagging him. Can they bring him down? Ramses upon the trees. The Vendetta hit is there. The Primal Spring, not where it needs to be. And the arrow will whiff as well.
Well, Ramses is the one that's low on HP, and because of that, Weapon X got a truck ton of movement speed to run about. All this while the tier 1 at mid takes some damage. It was the Visage Familiars along with the Jakiro Liquid Fire that's been hurting on that tower. No way for Buriza to really get back to defend this. They're going to have to sacrifice that tower, but maybe they can get a tower in exchange on the bottom lane for themselves. You've also got Zeus farming the top lane freely for now, who's making progress towards a mechanism.
Yeah, uncontested farm for Zeus. A tier 1 taken down. Buriza, what are they looking for in response? They're trying to take a tier 1 themselves. They've got this deep observer ward just in case Gift Sponsors tries to sneak up on them. But Gift Sponsors, they're more than happy to take down a tier 2 in exchange. Zeus doesn't have the Dark Rift, so there's no quick way for him to bring his team to the bottom lane. But they're getting a tier 2 for a tier 1, and this is going to force Buriza to come back and respond to this. Glass TP's in, he's got the hood. Not sure if just the 3 of them want to go for this kill. Maybe with Parasite and the Visage nearby, they can indeed.
Smoke, here we go. Parasite, no detection upon him. Divine, no detection upon him either. And Kaneki again without detection. Could this be their undoing once more? Because, well, Smoke's revealed all of their positions, and I don't think the Necrophos is going to die while 5 heroes are doing nothing. Mirana's pushing bottom.
Yeah, I mean, never has not having True Sight cost you so much. That was one of the costliest examples of not carrying detection. And it's the second time that Smoke on the Nyx Assassin has foiled Wipeout's attempts to push or take an objective or find a kill on the back of a Smoke. Helm G, he's popped a Smoke of his own. Excuse me, that's exactly an Invis rune.
He spotted out Zeus. If they can land the arrow,
he's going to start out with the Static Storm. Zeus standing stationary, moves at the last moment, will sidestep the arrow. There's a charge upon Helm. Helm trying to man up here, but there's no way he can win this fight. He does manage to glimpse back Divine, but it's not enough. Kaneki's come in as well.
That was really ambitious, man. I mean, a Disruptor and a Mirana going for a kill on an Underlord with a mech. Does he have the mech?
No, he doesn't.
Okay. He had the mech.
I think he flew it out to him, or I'm not sure. Possible that he had it. I might have missed it.
Even then, going for the kill on the Underlord so close to the shrines and the tier 2 towers, what a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done it if maybe the Mirana committed with the Starstorm, but Pulse decided not to. Probably he spotted out the mech and chose not to dive in.
No, I think he was just hoping that his arrow connects, because if the arrow connected, perhaps they'd have got that kill regardless. But because the arrow didn't connect, he didn't go in knowing he was too close to their towers. Pulse is charged and Pulse is ruptured.
What are his options? Moonlight Shadow.
Oh, nice!
Arrow connects onto the Spirit Breaker. He's
Pulse,
hoping to TP out. Pulse.
Unbelievable stuff from him. That was the only escape route for him. An arrow onto a charging Spirit Breaker followed by a TP which doesn't get cancelled by the Pit of Malice. Fantastic stuff. Space creation at its maximum.
That was unexpected. I don't think anybody expected Pulse to survive. The arrow connected. I still thought the Underlord with the Pit of Malice nearby might have cancelled the TP. But the Underlord was so sure that the charge would connect and just went in with the Pit of Malice.
It's moments like these that makes me really sad that Pulse is no longer going to be a part of the Indian Dota circuit after a while.
Yeah. Kaneki. He's been brought down. Ramses finds the solo pick of Ramses does have that Battle Fury complete. And with smoke tagging Weapon X, they could look for more Zeus nearby. Pulse lining up the arrow. It's coming through. It connects on Weapon X. The Wukong's command as well. Weapon X caught in the circle of doom. Ramses scores a double kill. Beautiful stuff coming out from Pulse. Those
the Pulse
arrows.
Show. This really is the Pulse show coming out here from him. He's playing some fantastic Dota. He's playing out of his mind. And he's just being enabled more and more by his teammates.
Yeah, great stuff coming out from Pulse. That arrow on the Spirit Breaker as well as the add-on Weapon X. A treat to watch.
Anyway, I'm curious to see how they managed to pull this off here. Because, I mean, we thought it was going to be the Bloodseeker running away with this game for now. He's actually managed to be slowed down. He's falling behind in terms of net worth. Monkey King's taking the lead. Necroforce is further ahead as well. And Necroforce is actually making progress towards his Radiance further and faster than Weapon X. He switched up to a Shadow Blade. We saw Blizzard making a similar mistake. Going for the Shadow Blade, but it was absolutely unnecessary.
It is a mistake. Buriza are going to be moving around with detection. And I honestly don't think that the Bloodseeker is a hero that usually benefits from building a Shadow Blade. I mean, he doesn't need that edge in positioning. There isn't a need for him to upgrade towards the Silver Edge. I don't see why Bloodseeker's built into a Shadow Blade. Anywho. I'm really not sure what Weapon X can do with the Shadow Blade. Buriza, once again, they've taken the lead somehow. And it's Gift sponsors a wipeout on the back foot. They've got the mech on Zeus. Their lineup does somewhat excel at taking towers, which is why Wipeout are working with the tower advantage here.
What's your read on Kaneki's Jakiro so far? I mean, we've seen him play the sacrificial role for the most part, but that's all he's really been doing, sacrificing.
They're not carrying detection again. I mean, luckily Smoke didn't pop Vendetta. He could pop it now. Moonlight Shadow to begin with. A charge up on Smoke, so that means that they have some vision to work with. A static storm dropped on the ground. Helm, they've not really caught anyone, but with the Impale, they'll catch the Spirit Breaker, bring him down with the Reaper side and get the kill. Elsewhere, Kaneki ends up going down. Pulse dishing out damage by the heaps with the Yasha. Zeus trying to move forward. He knows the glass is tagged by the Rupture. Weapon X elsewhere making a run for it. Weapon X, he's been surrounded by heroes on the side of Buriza and ends up going down to the Boundless Strike. Ramsey's on a mega kill streak and Wipeout.
Pulse actually came in from the backside over there. He got the kill off on Kaneki before he could walk away from there. It seemed like Kaneki was playing some good Dota for the time being with the macro pyre placed down, but Pulse just comes in and hits the delete button on all of that. All the while, you had a Rupture thrown down on Glass. Glass gets protected by his allies while he pops the hood upon himself and just stands his ground. Fantastic stuff coming out so far.
Yeah,
and
beautiful
it
stuff.
looks like Buriza are the ones in the driver's seat once again.
Yeah, Buriza. I mean, what looked like a disadvantageous start to them with the Spirit Breaker making those rotations, with Weapon X finding a couple of kills, with Pulse finding an unfavorable lane. Despite all the difficulties that they began this game with, they have made a solid comeback in the mid-game. And what's worse is Ramsey's with this Battle Fury is going to farm. I mean, his farm is just going to spike up right now on the Monkey King. He's got a Battle Fury and the Mask of Madness.
That's an insane amount of damage output coming out from Ramses. You leave him unchecked in the battle and he's going to destroy you for all your worth. If you leave Glass unchecked in the battle, he's going to destroy you as well. You can't be at two places at one time. You can't shut down both heroes at once. And even if you do somehow manage to stop them, Mirana's getting big as well.
Yeah.
This is really a catch-22 situation for Wipeout. And I mean, I'm really worried for them.
This Shadow Blade though, was it really the right choice for Weapon X to build into a Shadow Blade? I'm not even sure if he's sold on it.
Gautam, I don't have a earpiece, but I got some feedback on the chat that there's mic static coming out.
Pulse. He's got the Yasha complete. I honestly wouldn't mind him building a Lincoln Sphere. It's not going to come too soon, but it's certainly going to help versus the Bloodseeker, who's focusing Pulse so heavily in these team fights. But it seems as if he's going for the Diffusal Blade.
Well, Smoke just being a little cheeky there, goes after the Jakiro, smacks him in the back and then impales him for good measure. Kaneki. She's just got a Void Stone, man. That Yule Scepter is not looking anywhere close this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think rather than the Yules, just a good amount of detection would do a lot of good for gift sponsors. If you look across the map, it's funny that the Dire currently have more sentries than the Radiant. And this is only for a Bloodseeker with a Shadow Blade.
Yeah, they just, I mean
some
there's
of
no
those are bot
sugarcoating
spots,
it,
but
man. There's no sugarcoating it. This is a rookie mistake to not have detection versus the Nyx and the Mirana, man. It's what cost them in that fight near the shrine. It's what's cost them multiple times with their smoke rotations. And they're just not learning.
It seems as if they learn from the mistakes. I mean, 22 minutes in, you see Divine with Dust. Kaneki has a couple of sentries as well.
I mean, at this point, do you consider putting a gem on Zeus? I mean, he is super tanky after all. And having the gem is assured vision, assured map control as well, especially with the familiars to fly over the treetops. I think a gem would add some value to their lives.
He is tanky. They definitely do need a gem. Especially for the Moonlight Shadow, which Pulse has been rather liberal with. It's also going to help versus the Nyx. If the plan is to sometime group up or pop a smoke, they definitely should be doing it with a sentry or Dust at the very least. Mid lane though, Glass pushing in with Ramses. The Firestorm draws away the creeps. Ramses on the treetops, waiting patiently. Trees being chewed down by Zeus, who does have that Quelling Blade, but the tower is falling. Smoke gets away in the nick of time, has a blink dagger, blinks out of there, but Glass caught in the pit of malice, ruptured as well. Ramsey starts the Wukong's command. Glass manning up, turns around with the Reaper side, not enough to bring down Divine. Weapon X running around like a headless chicken with the Shadow Blade, while elsewhere Parasite has gone in. He's trying to bring down Smoke, but Pulse from the sidelines is focusing the Visage. The Starstorm hits, no one's fallen just yet. Ramsey's the first to fall. They take away his mega kill streak, while Glass manages to bring down Divine in exchange. Weapon X really low, a 3-man pit of malice. Kaneki, the ice path is going to miss. The impale onto 2 will connect and Zeus will fall. That's a lot of regen kicking in for Glass, while Pulse will manage to bring down Kaneki. Buriza once again win the team fight and only lose their Monkey King.
When you're up against a Radiance Necrophos, a long drawn out team fight is not the way to go. Glass clearly just standing his ground, surviving through the Rupture, the Blood Rite and the Pit of Malice, while doing Radiance burn damage and Heartstopper aura damage reduction throughout that fight. All it took for Glass was to get one kill to get that regen kicking in once again, and that's when Buriza says it's go time. Turn the fight in their favor and now press forward to take a tier 2 tower. I'm questioning the Shadow Blade pickup once again from Weapon X because it's not adding any value in these fights whatsoever. If he just held on to the money, got the Radiance instead, perhaps things would have been different that time around.
Divine though with the charge, maybe this time around they could bring down Glass. The Blood Rite will connect. Smoke though with the Impale. It's onto Weapon X.
Arrow.
And look at that, the arrow from Pulse onto Divine with the Death Pulse. Glass gets the kill. He's standing in the Macropire. He's standing in the Rupture. He finally goes down, but Pulse takes down Kaneki. They get down Weapon X as well with the Impale coming in from the Nyx, and they're looking for Zeus. The Uber trying to get himself out of there. Can they burst him down? A Boundless Strike would be nice, but Ramses, silenced by his own Mask of Madness, will not be able to stop the Underlord.
I'm really shocked at the way they're playing here. Buriza are a whole different beast than what we saw at Dew Arena and at the ESL India Premiership last time around. A Boundless Strike was thrown out there to help secure the kill on Weapon X, who was running away from a Nyx that was chasing him with Vendetta. The Boundless Strike allowed that Vendetta hit to happen, which is why Weapon X died, and all of this was in the thick of the battle. It's some insane level of communication and coordination coming out between these players. And it's really they're proving themselves to be one of the top contenders here at TE Gaming Cup 2017.
So, when I spoke to Pulse sometime around Dew, I mean, he told me, I'm going to get back to that story because Weapon X moves into the Rosh Pit. He is under cover of Shadow Blade, immediate Rupture onto Ramses. Ramses can fight all day long in the Wukong's command, but Divine pushes him back and Parasite gets the kill with the Soul Assumption, if I'm not mistaken. Glass running away under cover of the Moonlight Shadow, Smoke and Helm staying the high ground.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Static Storm there from Helm GA. It shouldn't have been in the pit. It should have been outside the pit to prevent heroes from getting in position. Unfortunate that he had to drop it down there in the middle of the pit and no one got caught after it.
Look at this. Roshan is low. Familiars are in the pit. Both teams prepping. This fight could possibly decide the outcome of the game for the next couple of minutes.
What an Ice Path.
Ice Path onto 2, Blood Rite on the floor. The Impale's going to miss. They're both silenced. Helm is going to fall. He doesn't have the Static Storm anymore. He's going to make a run for it. Glass silence as well, backing out. It's Wipeout playing with the numbers advantage, and it's Wipeout getting Roshan. A beautiful Ice Path to set things up. Smoke goes in. He gets the Impale onto 2, but he's caught in the Blood Rite. Slowed down by the Dual Breath, and Weapon X will get the kill. While elsewhere, Divine ends up falling to Glass. Glass has the Radiance. If I'm not mistaken, he still has the health regen kicking in, but they're just chewing through that. He pops the Ghost Shroud, wants to turn around, doesn't have the Reaper Sight, and he's been burned down by the Firestorm. Beautiful stuff coming out from Weapon X and the boys, and Wipeout are clawing their way back into this game.
Slowly but surely, indeed they are. Buriza, just when we praise them for good decision-making and coordination, they throw it all away, going into a Rosh fight that never should have happened in the first place. A whiff static storm from MGA that sends them into a downward spiral, followed up by the Nyx Assassin trying to steal an Aegis after Weapon X killed Roshan and picked it up. Kaneki, the MVP of that team fight for me. His ice paths were just in the right place at the right time every single time.
Yeah, those two-man ice paths were clutch, but look at this, they're smoked up, they want more. Gift sponsors do know that they're riding on a wave of momentum. Ramses needs to be careful. He does have the Wukong's command, but silence could hurt his chances with the Ice Path and the Pit of Malice. He's been controlled. He's been brought down. Smoked TPs in. He blinks out immediately for there's nothing he can do. And gift sponsors might just transition this into a quick push.
Immediately you see the call coming out from Buriza to start pushing out the lanes. Monkey King with no buyback. He's still got that inflated net worth upon himself. The Mask of Madness, the Battle Fury, as well as the Echo Saber, not really proven to be the most useful tools. Now, I think this is a bad decision. He should have gone for the BKB this game himself. If not a BKB, a Lincoln Sphere. He needs some sort of defensive item versus the control and the magic damage.
He definitely needs a Lincoln Sphere.
I think he needs the BKB more than the Lincolns this game, man. Honestly, the Ice Path as well as the Pit of Malice is what's hurting him the most, and the BKB would have been the best choice in that department.
Okay. Smoke trying to find a kill in return. But yeah, as I was telling you, during Dew, I was talking to Pulse and Buriza, and this is when they had their first significant showing in an Indian land. And Pulse just told me one thing. Our only target is the Taiwan Excellence Cup. It just goes to tell you how much prestige is attached to this tournament. Pulse, all he wanted to do back then was win the Taiwan Excellence Cup. And it seems like Buriza did come into this tournament planned and prepared. It's just rather unfortunate that they ended up taking a fight without their static storm, without their big ultimates, and they got punished for it. But they're still working with a 6,000 net worth advantage. It's Wipeout though that had the Aegis in their kitty, and the question is how much can they do with it really?
Well, that Shadow Blade from Weapon X, while it may not have paid big dividends, the Radiance is now going to come online shortly after, and we know for a fact that's going to be an impactful item to have up his sleeve. What's interesting though is that Glass chose to go for the Blade Mail instead, so that means that he can stand on the front lines and soak up the damage. And heck, even if he just stands in the Macro Fire and pops that Blade Mail and Kaneki's got no Yules to work with, he's going to do a lot of work in these fights. Problem is, they're still lacking Lincolns, they're still lacking BKBs. They don't really have ways to deal with all the lockdowns and disables coming out from the side of Weapon X and his teammates. Wipeout are still in a comfortable position, I'd say, especially because they've got that Aghanim Scepter finished up on the Visage, and they can now take buildings quickly as well. Look at Pulse though. He sees Kaneki by himself and he wants to score a kill. He doesn't have the arrow available, so Kaneki's just going to TP out in his face after taking a tier 2 tower there. Ramses, looks like he's learned from his mistakes. He's going for the BKB after all.
Yeah, he needs the BKB. What's interesting is he bought the Hyper Stone before going for the BKB.
Yeah, he had an Assault Cuirass queued up. He was just getting too cocky there.
At some point I saw a Desolator. Now he has a Hyper Stone.
Smoke on the prowl once again, looking for Zeus.
I'd really like to see Wipeout buy a gem and maybe just group up with this Aegis and see what happens. Weapon X, he's completed his...
Oh, they have a gem actually. Parasite's holding on to the gem here.
Okay. They've got a gem, they've got an Atos on the Visage. That's only going to ensure that the Blood Ride will connect. I mean, if Wipeout just choose to fight knowing that Buriza don't have BKBs, I'm pretty sure they can win these fights with the Aegis.
Yeah, I'm on board with that line of thought. They've finished up that Radiance on Weapon X as well, so the fight does start to lean in their favor a little bit. But you always got to watch out for that Necro first, because if you don't deal with him early on in the fights, he's going to come back and destroy you over the course of it. He's even chosen to go for the plus 10% magic resistance instead of the 5% spell amplification. So he's clearly looking to just survive and tank up whatever that Kaneki and his boys have to throw at him. Weapon X, I mean, while he's doing a lot of damage, he can't be the one running in to start the fights on his terms, because the moment he pops a Blood Rage and walks forward is the moment that they commit a Static Storm on his head to try and finish him off.
They are pushing the bot lane rather hard.
Oh,
Smoke
there's a
goes
gem.
in. They have detection. The Yules as well as the pit await him. Even the ice path, but who's going to bring him down? The familiar stuns are there. The soul assumptions as well. Divine comes charging through. The Nether Strike committed. They eliminate Smoke, but they've lost the pit lord. Look at this. Ramses with the Wukong's command. He takes down the Visage. He brings down Weapon X. And Buriza have held on to the high ground. Pulse chasing for more. He knows Kaneki's nearby. They have vision of him. Ramses, look at him go with the Jingo Mastery, just ripping Kaneki a new one. Beautiful stuff coming out from Buriza here. They have turned the game once again back in their favor.
Smashing stuff coming out from them. A successful defense, and all because Wipeout decided to overcommit on one measly little Nyx assassin. It almost looked intentional from Smoke running in there like a cockroach, only to get squashed while his teammates came in from behind. They were fighting in the Wukong's command for the longest time. Weapon X just ran in without a BKB, got decimated for it. And now there's even a gem just lying on the floor, casually waiting to be picked up. 4 down on the side of the Radiant, the Dire. They're going to look to push. There's no buybacks on the Spirit Breaker or the Bloodseeker, but they're back in, on the Pit Lord or the Bloodseeker, but they're back in 20 seconds. Tier 3s are being breached. There is a fortification to slow this down, but everyone is ready to fight here. Or rather, they're ready to split push. Because mid is pushing in courtesy Smoke, top is pushed in courtesy Pulse. I really feel like Buriza have never really lost control of this game, except for that one time near the Rosh pit.
Yeah, I mean, the physical damage that the Monkey King outputs during the Wukong's command, if you're not focusing him can really end up surprising you, and that's exactly what happened. Ramses with that Battle Fury, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, everybody on the side of Wipeout was really grouped up. And that beautiful Battle Fury along with the Jingo Mastery really hurt a whole lot of them.
What's interesting is that's not even his final form, man. I mean, he's just picked up a 10-second BKB and has it ready to go. So he's going to be uncontrolled in these fights unless you commit a Rupture on him, in which case the Necroforce is uncontrolled.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have to run away from
Pulse.
the Wukong's command. Pulse, Leap, TP, Divine! Makes it in the nick of time, and Pulse's killing spree taken away from him. It's very reminiscent of tournaments and competitions I saw during Dota 1. So back and forth. I fight you, I win. You fight me, let's see what happens. And this is exactly what's going on. Both teams are having a go with it. And Weapon X and his boys, they're going to get a tier 2 on the back of this. Buriza, they're working with no outer towers. So a death on any one of their cores could really possibly cost them a lane of barracks.
Yep.
If not a tier 3 at the very least.
The safest thing to do right now is just slow down and hold your high ground. Ensure that you buy time for the Mirana to come back. But Glass pops that Blade Mail just as the Blood Rite connects on him. While Smoke, he's been spotted. And they're going to go in with the charge. They're going to see him here and ATOS him to hold him down. That's going to be a dead Nyx Assassin for 50 seconds. Ramses with the BKB going in on Divine. Gets the Jingu stacks on run and then pops the Boundless Strike, decimating everyone in his path. It's going to be Smoke that gets taken down on one side, but it's also the Visage that's dropped on the other. Now Zeus is trying to run. They've dropped down the kinetic field. It doesn't connect on anyone, while the Weapon X is just losing his life and ends up going down to Ramses and his stick. Zeus with a Pit of Malice tries to run, but Ramses will give chase. He's got a Boundless Strike in 2, 1. Doesn't smack it in time. The Underlord is out of there, but the damage has been done.
Yeah, I mean, that was the shortest Uber ride ever. Zeus just TP'd right next to himself. He used the Dark Rift and he bought them right there. I've seen this movie sometimes in my pubs, and it seems as if Buriza have capitalized on that. Zeus, I mean, he's going to try to hold on. The Firestorm does have some wave clear. A buyback comes out from the Visage, and Buriza, sensing that they're not the quickest to take down towers, are going to back away. They're still working with a 13k net worth advantage. Pulse now going for that Lincoln Sphere.
But they did manage to force out the buyback on at least the Visage. So it is still another economic blow that's been delivered. Roshan will respawn in just a minute and a half now. And that's where the next big battle is going to take place by the looks of it. Ramses, what are you doing, man? This is not your home. This is not your territory. But you want to go in anyway, and it might just work in your favor. Because that's going to be a dieback on the Visage if he goes down. And indeed he does. Glass gets that kill. Now Kaneki's in trouble. But Kaneki's going to get glimpsed right back where Glass awaits him. Looks like Kaneki will survive, but the Visage wasn't so fortunate.
Controlled by the Rupture, turning around to Weapon X, unloads the Wukong's command, the charge is there. This really hurting Ramses, who has the Rupture upon him, and Divine will take away his killing spree. But Glass is there for the trade. He commits the Reaper side, gets the kill, and look at the region with the Ghost Shroud. Weapon X meanwhile battling Smoke, and the Radiance really working in his favor. He's bought down the Nyx. Glass dropping low, the familiar stun is there, the Ice Path as well. Glass, can he survive? A Glimmer Cape from Helm, he's somehow regenerating through all of that. The arrow comes in from Pulse, but it's a little too late. Only the Underlord and the Jakiro remain, and like you mentioned, that was a dieback on the Visage.
I'm a little confused why Helm is still here. He actually has no mana to work with, except for that one kinetic field, which he's going to throw to drop a bird. Either way, it's
got the arcane boots coming up.
They do have 2 buybacks on the side of the Radiant as well, so Buriza will do the right thing and just back away for now. As Roshan has respawned, unfortunately without the Monkey King, I don't think they can claim this Aegis for themselves just yet.
Yeah. I mean, in the previous engagement, Weapon X tried his best. He had the Rupture upon Ramses, and with the charge and the Nether Strike, it was enough to bring down Ramses, who actually ran out of the Blood Rite, so he lost a lot of HP running during the Rupture. After that, Weapon X went on to bring down Smoke. The problem is that the Necroforce was ignored, and like you did mention out earlier, he's doing a lot of damage over time with the Radiance, and the problem for Wipeout is twofold. It's the Necroforce as well as the Monkey King. And right now they're struggling to find answers to both of them.
Well, the other problem is that 2 of the heroes on the side of Wipeout have GPM talents. The Jakiro as well, sorry, the Spirit Breaker as well as the Jakiro. And they'll come online at level 20. When that happens, their net worth will start to catch up once again to the side of the Dire. And we're already seeing how effective the Jakiro is at taking down Glass with that Macro Pyre as he stands his ground.
Yeah.
Glass is choosing not to go for the BKB. In fact, he's almost finished up the Aghanim Scepter at the cost of a buyback. So they're walking on thin ice here. And they're taking some very, very big risks.
If they end up losing a team fight now, and with the Necroforce not having buyback, it could really hurt Buriza and possibly mean that they lose the tier 3 tower if nothing else. Because one thing's for sure, Wipeout push hard and push fast. With the Jakiro and even with the Visage Familiars, taking down buildings is not a problem for them. While Buriza don't really excel too well in that department. Ramses, he's gone back for the AC, so he's got that extra armor. It's gonna help versus the Visage, and maybe even the physical damage coming out from the Bloodseeker. But the real problem for Buriza in these team fights is a core who has Rupture upon him. That's proving to be the major issue for Buriza.
They do have that Lincoln Sphere finished up on that Necroforce for quite a while now. Ramses did get himself the Assault Cuirass, but I'm wondering if he gets rid of the Mask of Madness in lieu of a Lincoln's of his own now. I think that seems to be the way to go. What do you think?
On
Monkey King.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Lincoln Spear. I think he can give up the Mask of Madness, like you mentioned, and maybe just get a Lincoln Spear. The Rupture is the issue, but the problem is...
Well, they've already got 2 Lincolns, right? Pulse and Glass already have Lincoln, so maybe you can just toss one over to Ramses instead. I'm also thinking there's a little bit of a lockdown problem on the side of the Dio. Maybe an Abyssal Blade for the Monkey King wouldn't be terrible. But with Roshan now being taken apart, Kaneki, and does he have a smoke available? I don't see a single smoke on the side of the Radiant right now. That means that it's going to be a free Roshan taken up by Ramses, or rather by Glass. Never mind, it's Ramses and Glass keeps the cheese.
Yeah, this was, in a way, Smoke outplaying the enemy supports. He hung around that part of the map, scouted out that there was a ward, and which is why immediately he blinked away from the Spirit Breaker. There was this quick and intense de-warding battle near the Radiant Ancients, and the Dire won it, which is why they've gone into Roshan uncontested. It's also possible that Kaneki didn't have smokes to buy. Maybe his smokes had timed out, and now once again it's Wipeout on the defensive.
But Weapon X does have a 10-second BKB to work with, so maybe that could change the tides of battle in their favor, if only a little bit. The only thing he really needs to worry about is Ramses right-clicking him through that BKB. However, if he can throw a Rupture out on Ramses and make sure that Ramses can't move about the fight freely, maybe, just maybe, we might see Weapon X holding the fort for his teammates, giving Wipeout the much-needed firepower they need for the next team fight. I mean, they're survivable, right? They've got the Underlord in the vicinity. Monkey King's damage gets reduced when the Underlord's nearby. They've got the Guardian Greaves available, a lot of control with Kaneki for the rest of the heroes. And of course, the Blade Mail for Divine to be a deterrent to be jumped upon. Maybe they have what it takes. It's a long shot, but a chance nonetheless. Here we go. Lincoln's thrown upon Ramses. He's already taken a hell of a beating here.
Yeah, Lincoln's #1 triggered with the 8 hours. They've got a bunch of things that could pop the Lincoln Spear, Yule Scepters, 8 hours, even the Blood Rage. I mean, heck, Visage wouldn't mind just throwing a Soul Assumption on him early on with the cooldown that it has.
Anyway, this looks like it scared them off for now. They're not willing to just go all in on that tier 3 tower without a pick-off. Especially when the middle lane is pushing in like this. Glass, he's got himself another 2400 gold, so the buyback is back online now. For him as well as the Monkey King.
Pulse pushing the bottom lane all by himself. If I mean, there are two ways Wipeout could approach this. You either wait for them to come high ground, or you try and spot which one of the enemy heroes is all by himself pushing. And right now it's Pulse. If they do manage to kill Pulse, it means that Buriza will be deterred from coming high ground due to the man advantage that Wipeout will be working with.
You know, one way to do it is to use the Uber Lord or the Underlord and the Dark Rift to try and pick off Pulse on the sidelines, but that's such an all-in play.
Yeah,
but I think it's one that's necessary when they're trying to push in all 3 lanes now.
The problem is, if I'm not mistaken, you see the animation on the creep, so might require a helm on the Dominator creep or something
perhaps
cheesy like that.
Or you do it in fog while the creep wave is getting close to it.
That's one way of doing it. You do it before the creep wave is visible to Pulse.
Anyway, they've now got 3 lanes past the river, and it should be go time with that Aegis and Chi still available for them. Smoke with a gem under cover of the Midera standing on the front lines. Bloodseeker and Underlord gonna take out wave after wave as quickly as they can. Bottom. Pulse. Trying for that arrow to start the fight here. While Ramses is walking around as well, hoping to get in with a good initiation from his teammates. Wukong's command defensively dropped. They're going for the towers. They're going to drop down the macro pyre as well as the fortification to defend. But that's only going to delay this, because Ramses once more, he wants the tower. The arrow! Oh, it was disguised under the macro pyre. They did get the stun off on Divine, and now the fight's going to break out.
Smoke goes in. He's got the Impale as well as the Static Storm. Ramses gets the tower, loses his Aegis. Static Storm committed to Buriza, really want to fight, but Malice catches 3. Ramses pops his BKB, drops down the Boundless Strike. They're focusing Divine, the Reaper side as well. The Reaper side committed on a Spirit Breaker, but it is a Reaper side with the Acceptor, while Ramses takes down Zeus all by himself. A Blood Ride on the floor. They're trying to bring down Smoke. They'll retrieve the gem, but Pulse with the damage, pushing back the Visage. A buyback comes out from the Underlord. A kinetic field on the floor. A Bitter Malice does manage to clip onto Ramses' Blood Ride as well. Ice Part to follow. Ramses dropping low, doesn't have the Aegis. No Jingu Mastery stacks. He's been brought down. Weapon X, he wants more, but the kinetic field will hold him back.
Okay, Glass is ready to fight on the high ground. He's got that Aghanim Scepter Reaper Scythe cooling down once again, and he's ready to go. As long as Weapon X doesn't overstep his boundaries, they'll be fine. All they really lost was a ranged barracks, and they did manage to get a kill on that Monkey King. I don't think Wipeout should be too concerned about this. They did well. That's pretty much the best defense they could have got versus an Aegis Monkey King.
It's a good defense. They took away the Aegis, they bought down the Monkey King, and they only lost the ranged barracks. So, I guess Wipeout are pretty happy with that.
The problem is the shrines are now exposed. And I think that's what Buriza are going to do next.
Okay. Yep. I mean, Buriza could wait, go for Roshan #2. And if I'm not mistaken, they did force a buyback on the Visage? No.
No, it's actually the Underlord that bought back.
Oh yeah, excuse me. The Underlord bought back in that fight.
One of the real issues in that fight was the Necroforce was not being addressed at all. After he got the Reaper side kill, he was nigh unkillable. He was just standing there with Radiance Burn throughout, and if anyone walked up to him, he'd right-click them. He is level 25 after all, and he put the final point into the plus 400 health.
Okay. Yeah, most Necros prefer the plus 400 health over the Death Pulse cooldown. I mean, both seem equally tempting. But 400 health is too good to pass when you know that you aren't going to be building anything that helps increase your HP pool. Glass though, he's going for the Dagon. solo kill potential seems to be his plan here. And the Dagon's at least going to help him burst down pesky heroes like the Jakiro at the very least. He's trying to max it out as much as possible while the Monkey King goes for a butterfly. Huh.
Look at what he's queued up next, by the way. He's got a Divine Rapier waiting to be picked up, but...
Jesus. Ramses has done this before.
I don't think he should
He did this before on the Klings, and that resulted in Buriza winning what looked like an unwinnable game.
I mean, just be safe and get an MKB, man. Weapon X has evasion with the Radiance. Get the MKB and be safe. Or just get a Lincoln Sphere, for God's sake.
Yeah. The problem is, at 48 minutes, Wipeout have more than enough things, more than enough items to pop the Lincoln Sphere. I would actually like to see Smoke or maybe Helm build a Lotus Hub. That certainly helped their cause.
You can definitely see the fear yet the temptation coming out from Buriza, right? They want to go high ground, but they're just not willing to go without a pick-off. And I mean, on the flip side of it, you have Weapon X, or rather you have Wipeout that's just sitting in their fountain.
But if they do manage to team by Buriza and Buriza are left without buyback, they could easily march down mid and take a tier 3 at the very least themselves. That's really all that Wipeout need to do. It's also essential that they hopefully have some vision around the Rosh pit and try and keep tabs on the Rosh timer and possibly contest Roshan if Buriza do move into the Rosh pit themselves.
How does Wipeout make a comeback here? I mean, they've got themselves a Halberd finished up on Zeus's Pit Lord, so that could work well versus the Monkey King, only as long as he's not popped the PKB before it. They're going towards the bottom lane where Weapon X is walking out by himself. I mean, Smoke is slowly stalking him.
Yeah, you also see Glass on the Necrophos rotating in that direction. Pulse is coming soon as well. Have they got detection? There's a gem on Smoke. He starts out with the Impale. The arrow comes flying through. This could be a dead Bloodseeker. Ramsey joins the party and smacks him with his hammer. Or rather his stick. And,
well, he's got a buyback. So
he's got a buyback,
use it.
But I mean, they're more than happy to force the buyback at the very least on the side of Buriza.
You know what they should do here? They shouldn't be going high ground. Instead, Roshan's back online. They should be getting Rosh and the Aegis for themselves.
Oh, this is even more cheeky. They pop the Smoke as well as the Dash. There is a sentry on the floor, but the Smoke might make all the difference. It's just moving into the Radiant base. There are 3 arrows that come flying through from Pulse. One connects on the Underlord, the Glimpse as well. Wukong's command on the floor. Static Storm upon Zeus. He's not using his Halberd, but Ramses pounds away on him. The Wukong's command deterring them from coming into their own base. The melee barracks to fall. The Ice Part comes through. Ramsey's dropping low. There's the Reaper side. Is not doing too much, but Ramsey turns around and with the damage from Pulse will get the kill. Ramsey does a whole lot of work to divide while Glass cleans house. Parasite is by himself. He throws out the Soul Assumption, but he has no teams to work with. Buriza have done it. Ramses will buy back. That's going to mean that he's at least not going to be buying that Divine Rapier for God's sake, and he's going to focus the last, or excuse me, the mid-tier 3.
Meanwhile, on the other side, you had double buybacks coming out from Parasite and Kaneki, who are both dying inside their fountain. They've been herding back like sheep. And their shepherd, being Team Buriza, it's another lane of barracks going in their favor. The Dire are doing it. Buriza are doing it. Glass with the kill with the Reaper side. Continues to move forward as Kaneki will tap out. Buriza have knocked out Wipeout from TE Gaming Cup 2017.
That last minute decision to pop the Moonlight Shadow and the Smoke, it was an all-in play. It was, I do not even see many teams across the world have the audacity to make such a play. Buriza did it. It looked a bit iffy, but it did end up working for them. And this means that Buriza will be moving on to the next round. Wipeout, they caused one of the biggest upsets. But unfortunately, Buriza were just a better team today.
Yep, but it's very likely that Buriza might have to face defending champion of the TE Gaming Cup in the next game. It's going to be
defending
Evil
champion.
Ash. Champion, no plural. It's only Evil Ash, the remnant of the past that's come in winning every single TE Gaming Cup so far.
Really?
Yeah.
He's won every single one of them?
I think
almost
so.
Almost all of them.
I think he's won every single one. I may be mistaken, but I think he's won every single one so far. But either way, it's going to be a hell of a day tomorrow. But this is where the Dota 2 showdown ends. at TE Gaming Cup 2017 Day 1. I'm CloudX, with me was Vivek. Huge congratulations to Buriza and hard luck to Wipeout. But somebody give them sponsors and a round of applause because they surely deserve it. We'll see you guys next time. Adios amigos.
All right. So you guys know the drill, right? Let's have a round of applause for the gallant losers here. Team, gift sponsors, tried. Buybacks after buybacks, sadly could not make it through. Come here, man. Come here. Let's have a chit chat. What a game, man. What a game. Intense. But, like, where did it start going wrong in the game, man?
I think first game, we over-prepared for them, and we tried to do something same, like, which we prepared for the other teams, like, specifically for A5. We tried to do that against Buriza, and it didn't work out. And after that game, I think my team is kind of new, so the morale kind of goes down.
Yeah.
And so second game, was kind of not that hard.
All right.
Yeah, but we made a lot of mistakes. Like, we kept giving them map advantage, and they were very passive, and we kept giving them gold, and all over the map they just free farm with.
So basically, they capitalized on whatever mistake you made in the game and made full advantage of it.
Yeah.
Ah, hard luck, man. Hard luck. You get a cuddle, just like Vivek said. Best luck for all future endeavors, ladies and gentlemen. Gift sponsors here. Let's hear it for them once again. All right, now calling out the people who will be going on to the finals, the men with the mission. Come on, let's hear it for Team Buriza. Come on, everybody. All right, bro, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
So the idea is very simple, right? Like, you are going to go ahead and prove that this time, this last tournament of yours, you are going to go with a bang. And with the final trophy in your hand.
That is it. That is the thing I want.
All right. But gift sponsors, Captain had a lot to say about your entire capitalization of the game's nook and crannies. Each time they were getting loose play done, you guys capitalized on that. Was that a predetermined call, or you guys
It was mostly like all credits goes to a shot caller, Akshay. He's the one who does all the in-game shot calling. So we just follow his calls. He just leads us, nothing else.
Okay, all right. So you guys are going to be in the finals tomorrow.
Yes.
Any thoughts on that?
We are really excited to play that team. Like, that is one of the best teams in India. We are really looking forward to playing that team.
All right. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a collective round of applause for Team Buriza here? Gonna see them tomorrow in the finals. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, now moving on to the thick of things here. We're going to be taking a short break. When we take that short break and when we come back from that short break, we are going to start with the best of 3 of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's going to be a game between TMG and SRA. So we'll take a quick break here, and when we come back with some great Counter-Strike action. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.